Hey everyone, welcome to our Right Side Up deep dive. Over the next 30 minutes, my colleague Mike Timity is going to be walking through all the capabilities of Right Side Up and sharing some case study examples of how organizations have reached out to us to help them hit their growth goals. So since we only have 30 minutes, we're going to kind of run right through and start today's webinar. So just a couple of quick housekeeping items. So please note everyone on this call is muted. However, if you have any questions for Mike, feel free to throw them in the Q&A box. And of course, if any issues appear or you have any additional comments, you can throw them in the chat and other attendees will be able to see it so you can interact with them as well. And then lastly, an email with the recording will be sent out tomorrow, so look out for that in your inbox. Great. With that, I mentioned before, I'm thrilled to be joined by Mike Timity, our head of operations here at Right Side Up. Mike has 20 plus years of experience, both agency and in-house, leading growth and performance marketing teams, programs, and channels. So with that, I'm gonna pass the mic off to Mike, and then I'll be back for a Q&A later. Enjoy the webinar, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Amanda.
Of course.
Great to be here with everyone. Happy Wednesday. As Amanda said, we'll be efficient with the time, make sure we have time for questions at the end, but thrilled to be here to talk through a deep dive on Right Side Up, kind of how we work, different growth topics we can cover throughout the chat. So with that said, we can dive right in. All right. So the Right Side Up story, we were founded in 2017 by our founder, CEO Tyler Ellison. We were really founded on the premise of, at its highest level, not boxing our excellence in our playbooks and in our delivery approach into the standard agency playbook, which there is a broad spectrum of agencies that work across different ways, but your traditional marketing agency at the time often would have playbooks that they were very rigid against with regards to how they would work with their clients and deploy various growth marketing services. The staffing model of those agencies, many times they were salaried employees as part of their team that they would, whoever they had on the bench, they would point at a client. And sometimes that person could be inexperienced just generally. They might be a few years out of school running a multi-million-dollar budget with a client, or they did not come from the a relevant background to what that company was doing. And the idea behind Right Side Up in the early days was kind of flip that on its head and flip it right side up instead of upside down, where we would go and curate the right talent for the client needs. And that's not only the skill set, but the stage of the company, the industry, the seniority of the person, knowing that some client scopes need real senior strategic level thinking, some need very tactical executional work, and some need in between. And we really want to map our delivery and our solutions to the right scope for the client to maximize positive outcomes and excellence in the work that we do. So the business was built off that ethos and that foundation. We've been scaling it for almost the last 10 years. We're coming up on 10 years, and have diversified our offering quite a bit. And we can talk more about that. So at our core, we believe that excellence and great marketing teams are anchored by A-plus talent. We really believe in the dexterity of how that comes together. So there are many use cases. We can talk about them. We can cover questions on them. But when you're looking at needs in your company, or you're engaging in a service provider or an external partner, there are cases where fractional talent will make sense. We see this often with early stage companies where it may not be a full-time role, or they don't have the skill set or the experience on their current team. And they need to bring someone in to, in a cost-effective way, help them think through a strategy of unlocking a channel or an effort or a campaign, or launching marketing efforts from kind of 0 to 1. And they may need someone in a more fractional capacity, and open up the pool of people that they could get, as opposed to like trying to bring them in full time, which would be oftentimes hard to hire, expensive. Landing A-plus talent could be really hard at the stage you're at as a company where you're doing more proof of concept. This also plays out on the other end of the spectrum and everything in between, where we'll deploy talent with different clients at scaled levels, where they might need someone for an interim period, or they need someone to take on a particular campaign because they don't have enough resourcing on the team and they need supplemental, but they need it in a very flexible way, and kind of everything in between that. So that's kind of the roots of our business and kind of how we developed into what we are today. Full-time employees, like we do offer these services. We believe there are use cases for full-time employees when it is a proven channel or a proven motion or effort or need on the team. Could be multi-channel, could be a strategic leader. There are cases where our clients come to us and they say, we need a full-time employee. This person, we need to develop them for the long term, have them be part of the company DNA at a much deeper level. And that use case is, I think, pretty common. And then there are situations where skill sets are very specialized or they can be more playbook driven, where deploying an agency team is needed because the excellence that that team can bring to something very specific, the agency model does actually yield benefits. But still sticking to our ethos of like hiring very senior people who are very capable and have demonstrated a long track record of success. And we do have teams within Right Setup that do function in a more verticalized agency format. Our offline practice would be one example where they're working on everything audio, podcast advertising, streaming, and so on, all the way to TV advertising, things like that, where that skill set is very specialized and requires a very strategic approach to it. So just to kind of tie it all together, we're a talent platform at our core. We're powered by A+ marketers and proprietary technology that we use on the back end to quickly and efficiently identify the people that we're putting on our projects. And we're working with the most ambitious companies. We'll, pull up a slide later with some of our clients that we're working with. Again, it runs the full spectrum. But we at the end of the day, we deploy the best marketers, and they can be individual consultants, part of a custom agency team, FTEs through retained searches. And we really work backwards from client need to figure out what that solution looks like and partner with our clients. So just going kind of a level deeper. So consultants, like when we deploy them, typically the process is we'll have a discussion with a client or a lead that's coming into us asking for help. We, as an internal team, we all come from a marketing background. We believe that that is very much a critical component of what makes our services great and differentiates us. So when people come talk to us about various needs, again, consultant, FTE, recruiting, agency teams, you're talking to a marketer in that conversation. And that's a really important part because these are team members on our side who have like been in-house for significant periods of time, have worked at top companies, have seen what marketing excellence looks like, know how to identify either talent externally who we're pulling in through our collective or an agency service that we're offering or recommending FTE recruiting, and are consultative in their approach to how they're working with clients and our prospects who are talking to us about their specific needs, and able to really counsel and understand what are those nuances of the business, because every business is slightly different, and come to the table with a recommendation that we feel confident in, both in terms of the actual approach that's being taken, again, fractional FTE agency, but also being able to speak to the quality of the service or talent or team that we're deploying because we've deeply vetted those people and they've met our bar of excellence to be part of the Right Setup brand. So we hold that near and dear to our hearts. That's like a very important part of our business is we maintain quality and excellence. So that cascades all the way through our internal processes and how we look at that. So here's our logo slide. We've worked with well over 1,000 clients. Our clients span every vector of industry, stage, company type, B2B, B2C. We are truly have dexterity across everything. We've seen it all at this point. We've built internal capabilities to deliver excellent quality partnership to any type of business at any stage. So, we've worked with your household name brands, the DoorDashes, the Credit Karmas, the Coinbases of the world, but all the way down to like a seed funded startup that may not even have a marketing team, or we're talking to the CEO about what they need and advising them on building out the 0 to 1 marketing strategy and everything in between that. So I'll go a little bit deeper into our consultant marketplace. This again is kind of the roots of how the business was started. It's a large portion of the work we do today. We've been building and maintaining a consultant marketplace of premium marketing talent for almost 10 years now. I'd be hesitant to say there's any functional area of marketing that we can't cover. Our collective is, well into the many thousands of consultants that we've vetted and allowed onto our platform because, again, they meet the quality bar. A lot of times, consultants are people we've worked with on multiple projects at this point. We've collected client feedback. We're maintaining this ecosystem of quality. When we make a recommendation, they've gone through multiple vetting cycles. So this is like a living, breathing part of our business where quality control is of paramount importance to us. And we deploy anything from 5 hours a week up to 40 hours a week. That is also a common use case where a client may need someone for 6 months at 40 hours a week to cover seasonal coverage or parental leave or some type of leave on their team, or supplementing just skill sets, or hiring is taking them longer than they anticipated and they need to make traction now or cover a particular area. So we're very flexible in that regard. We can move quickly. We pride ourselves on 5 to 7 business days to turn around a recommendation. Oftentimes at this point, we have such a good pulse on our talent bench. We're able to get a recommendation much more quickly to our clients. And I think an area that is we hear feedback on that our clients like is not only the flexibility of the model in terms of like contractual flexibility and being able to wind up, wind down at the client discretion, but also that we're able to kind of nimbly move and adapt to feedback throughout the process and find people who meet different criteria as we calibrate with our clients. But with that said, we often get the first recommendation right, and don't often see when clients move forward that they want to make a change. So we've got a system running that we feel has a ton of reps behind it, and we feel really good about. So I talked a bit about this, but fractional use cases, parental leave is a very common one. We have a couple of case studies I can highlight at a high level. So we had a health tech company come to us and had a member of their marketing team going on parental leave. They needed it quickly, specialist short-term coverage, just needed somebody to come in with the right skill set, hit the ground running, not lose momentum with the person going out on parental leave. We met that challenge very, very quickly and very easily. We deployed an A+ consultant. It was a 3-month engagement, 40 hours a week, slotted them in as part of the full-time team, and they ran the engagement very successfully and provided the right coverage. We had another one on ABM support, which I'd say, just my own experience, ABM has been a more specialized area of marketing that clients have come to us for because it often hasn't sat within the internal team, at least from what I've seen. So we had a delivery technology platform come to us, and they were experimenting with an ABM approach targeting kind of their key client accounts and new sectors. We provided a fractional ABM marketer with relevant experience to jump in and do that. And I think this highlights like two cases of very different uses of us, but still plugging into our system and our processes that are very well defined at this point, and being able to, again, move quickly to meet these very tight turnaround deadlines. On the agency team side, so we call it this as a nice external rubric for people to think about, but many times these teams are part of the internal Right Setup team. So we do have GMs of each what we would call a business unit or an offering within Right Setup, who is an absolute industry leading expert in their respective area. So offline marketing, led by GM Christina Rubino, came in, basically built the practice from the ground up. They focus on all things offline marketing. So, the standard stuff: podcast advertising, radio, audio channels, TV, measurement frameworks. And this is an internal team to Right Setup because we believe that in order to do the best work in highly specialized areas like this, you need to have a highly specialized team that's oriented around these channels and brings a senior level strategic mindset to them. So we felt like investing in building the practice with Christina around her, bringing in great people and deploying our services there was a really strong investment. Same is true for ecom, working on Amazon PPC, DSP, Amazon account management. We've expanded into Instacart ads, Walmart, Kroger, obviously applying analytics and insights to that, led by Tom Kleiss, who's our GM. Affiliate marketing, Amy Scanlon, another person who's an absolute expert in her field, highly specialized, comes from a long history of in-house. Knowing that affiliate marketing is also a very specialized and nuanced area of marketing, we felt like bringing that into a specialized practice was a really good investment. It's growing very quickly. It's in high demand as a lot of our clients are assessing affiliate marketing as part of their broader strategy or reevaluating their program with a third-party partner. And then Right%, led by our GM, Kevin Barry, it functions some ways like a traditional agency, except staffed with much more senior B2B marketers on it. So we don't hire junior people to come in and run large ad account budgets or anything like that. The team is only staffed with Kevin, with senior level people who really understand their craft and understand B2B marketing as it relates to paid advertising. So it's a fairly specialized offering on our end, but is a area of the market that was underserved, and we've seen a ton of traction working with anything from SMB B2B brands all the way up to enterprise clients, and that's across LinkedIn, search, meta, attribution, creative strategy, all the levers that are really important for success in those channels. So some business unit use cases for podcast advertising. We had a meal kit delivery service. They needed to differentiate and diversify channel mix and scale performance. Very competitive market, looking outside of the traditional, advertising in Meta and maybe some lower funnel channels into more how do we expand the audience and still drive measurable improvements. So we brought in the offline practice to activate podcast advertising, to basically target these relevant audiences and build out a strategy and start to test and scale into that, and saw a lot of success with that as the team partnered very closely with their leadership team. On the B2B performance side, we had a fintech company, B2B fintech, came to us and they wanted to improve down funnel conversions on paid media channels. So really tying it all the way through to close one at the end of the day. So they engaged our Right% team to evaluate all the levers to pull in Meta and LinkedIn, but also pull in our creative team, Studio RSU, to rethink the creative strategy, knowing that as the last few years have evolved, like creative has become such a big lever and things like Meta advertising and even LinkedIn for that matter. And it's just increasingly the most important variable when it comes to success in paid advertising channels. Custom agency teams is really interesting. This is, I would say, something in the last few years we've seen our clients be more interested in. And really what this is we're assembling a custom team covering multiple scopes under a lead who is overseeing the work. So we may have a client, a use case would be like they come to us, they'd say, we have a need for a SEM manager, a Meta person, and some creative support. But we also need the strategic kind of overlay of that, of bringing someone in at a more senior level who kind of understands how the pieces fit together, can also work closely with the client leadership team to deliver on the success metrics of those channels and the efforts. So we've started to deploy this more with some of our bigger clients, where we'll pull in somebody who's a more senior head of growth level profile person who's managing multiple resources, who we've hand selected to come in with a particular skill set, both channel and experience, and meeting the bar of our excellence, and really putting together, all jokes aside, a dream team of people that can be deployed to our clients and provide kind of a team on demand that is of very high quality, in line with the client's expectations, of course. This is a fairly new offering for us. We've been doing this for about the past year and a half, but we've recently this year really formalized our offering around full-time recruiting. Given where we operate in the space with fractional talent agency teams, we've had clients over the years tell us, like, you have a great talent bench, you're able to deploy people really quickly, can you help with full-time hiring? And we offer a pro poaching ethos on our fractional talent, where clients can hire our talent that we place contractually and pay a recruiting fee. But there were clients who were like, I'd love to just engage on finding my next full-time hire, knowing that Right Setup has a talent bar that's really high and you have a great collective of people that may or may not be looking for full-time opportunities. So we formally launched this. We brought in our GM Mark Okian, who has really been heads down building out this practice. Comes from a long career both in-house marketing and on the recruiting side. So has lived in both worlds, which is a really important part of his experience. But we've started to see a lot of demand for this as our clients and companies that we're talking to are starting to scale marketing investment again and bring in full-time resources and really invest and long-term growth of their marketing teams and the people that they're bringing in that capacity. So some use cases. The first one, a CMO needs a VP of growth, VP of marketing, or a similar specialized kind of skill set. As is often the case, they need them quickly, and that's another part of our model that we feel is critical to the clients we serve and the companies we speak with. Is like speed matters, right? We have to balance speed with quality. A lot of our clients don't have the luxury of waiting. They need people now, and they need them, to hit the ground running and be of high quality. So we've really built our practice around de-risking that for our clients, having our systems and our processes really built out in a way that we feel very confident that we can take an input from a client, calibrate it with them, be an advisor, shape it, go back into our collective, and come back with the right person very quickly. And that extends into FTE recruiting. And I think we're very flexible in the way we tailor that. We try to balance, like, we have a model that we stand behind, but we're also very there's the common Amazon term that I love to quote often is like working backwards from the customer and really understanding like where are places we need to be adaptable and where are places we need to be more upfront with them about we think it should be this. And that's always a push pull with each client to really shape things and move quickly and successfully deliver on whatever they need. Our second use case would be more of, we offer an hourly model. So this is another area where we can provide flexibility. Is like some of our clients that we speak with, like budgets are a real constraint. Every company has some degree of budget constraint, but really wanting to serve like companies that don't have as much budget luxury to like deploy to an external partner, but still striking the balance between we can actually provide a great service with more flexibility on pricing. So offering the hourly model was a key part of the differentiation of our FTE recruiting services. And allows us and the client a little more flexibility to like make progress against sourcing a great pool of candidates and vetting them, putting them in front of the client, but doing so in a cost-efficient manner and slightly shaping what we're doing in the work and the cost to the client constraints. So opening it up a bit more for our most likely earlier stage clients, but their budget constraints exist everywhere. Just some testimonials from our clients. I won't read through all of them, but this kind of a testament to, you can review it in the recording or read them now. But we're very lucky to work with some amazing marketers, amazing brands who we've partnered with for many years. We have a lot of clients we've worked with for, north of 5 years in duration consistently. And we get to work on some of the coolest marketing problems there are with our clients. Awesome. Well, we have about 5 minutes left.
Yeah. All right. So let's pull up the Q&A. And of course, if you have any additional questions, we have about 3-ish minutes. So feel free to throw in additional questions in the chat. So I'm going to pose this question to you first, Mike. So what does the process look like if someone wants to engage with Right Side Up?
Yes. So it starts with either an inbound email. You can come in through Growth at Right Setup is a great way to reach us if you're interested in learning more, or emailing me or a team member if you're connected. And it can be for any reason. Of course, we love brainstorming even without a business outcome tied to it. So always excited to connect. I'm speaking on behalf of the team. Always excited to connect with marketing leaders, CEOs, anyone who's interested in discussing or brainstorming anything around growth marketing. And then from there, depending on what exactly is needed, that's part of the upfront discussion. If you're interested in working with Right Setup, we would want to set up a call with our project strategy team. That is a team of marketing leaders who come from in-house backgrounds. Their goal in getting on a call is to talk through why you reached out to us, understand not only the needs you think you might have, but also like what does your broader marketing mix look like, or what stage are you at in the marketing journey? Again, that could be a very mature late stage company who has a very good understanding of what their marketing needs are, or it could be a CEO who's reaching out to us and doesn't know where to start. And those conversations happen all the time. But that team is there to be consultative, advise, brainstorm, talk about what you think you need, understand your business, and then advise on what they think the answer could be. We're also not a team of sales. We, very regularly will tell clients if they're not ready for a certain thing or advise them in a different direction if we feel that's the right thing for their business. That is something baked into our ethos. So you can approach conversations with us fully aware that you will not be pushed into a pushy sales process. Emphasize that.
Sounds good. Awesome. All right. I guess we have 2 minutes. I'll ask one final question. So what are some common mistakes right now you're seeing companies make in regards to resourcing?
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like there's kind of the standard ones, like there's the high level or like waiting too long to bring someone in. So like hiring, depending on the company, depending on the type of role and all the variables involved, sometimes can be quick, sometimes it can take a long time. And I've definitely seen companies fully focused on hiring an FTE, and it taking a really long time and then losing critical time in that process to making traction on what they already know is important to their business when it comes to a particular marketing strategy. So I feel like that's a very common one, and that is a very strong use case for bringing in fractional support quickly. I think increasingly conversations I've been in have been, yes, we want to hire a head of growth full time, but that could take us 3 to 6 months to do that. We need to make traction right now. And then we'll talk about, okay, we can bring in a fractional person for 3 to 6 months or until you hire that person, or you'd love the fractional person we place and you hire them because you're contractually allowed to do so, but not losing traction or time for full-time hiring as it can sometimes take a long time. I think also like a very common one is hiring someone more senior than you're ready for. I see this happen sometimes where a fast growth startup will go hire a CMO from a major brand who is coming in and wants to, not to pick on, this isn't like geared at CMOs, this can happen at any level, but mismatch between the work that's needed and the work and the ideal profile of the person you're bringing in. Or sometimes hiring someone who comes from a completely different industry with a completely different funnel and motion to like actually close business, or like what's needed, whether it's website optimization understanding or like working with a sales team, and get very fixated on logos and not where's their demonstrated success that they've had in both like company type, stage, funnel, all the nuances that really we go deep on to match and pitch talent. And I think that's something I've seen play out a lot. And that's something that we, again, in these conversations really anchor on. It's like, we don't want to place a paid social person from Uber on an early stage B2B SaaS business. It's it could work, but it's unlikely, and it's unlikely to be a good fit for the person, as like a very general example, but there are a lot of other ones along those lines.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. I know we're at the end of our time. So if anyone has any additional questions for Mike, feel free to throw it in the chat. And I did see a question come in about the recording. So we will be sending out an email tomorrow afternoon with a link to recording. So look out for that if you want to rewatch it or share it with any colleagues. And with that, want to thank you, Mike, for giving us a great demo of all of Right Side Up's capabilities and offerings. And thank you, each of you, for attending. We hope you have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.